30 seconds maybe. Hi, good morning everyone. Thank you all for joining us here today at StereoNET Asia 2026. And welcome to Sound Gallery by IMS. With us today, we have Grace Cole, Vice President and General Manager of Harman Consumer Audio Asia Pacific, our distinguished guests, and the media. Just a quick introduction for those of you who might not be familiar with Sound Gallery by IMS. So Sound Gallery by IMS is actually the retail marketing arm of IMS Marketing, which is Singapore's authorized distributor of Harman brands like JBL, Harman Kardon, and some of the brands here in this room today like JBL's luxury audio line as well as RCAM. We actually carry a lot of pride in Sound Gallery because it carries what we believe to have some of the world's best audio. And this year we have two milestones that we're so proud to celebrate: JBL's 80th and RCAM's 50th anniversary of audio excellence. So steering our focus back to JBL, because JBL has been with us since the beginning. In these 80 years, JBL has reserved a single word for the finest loudspeakers it has ever built. The word is project. And there are not many projects around. You can literally count them in one hand. The Hartsfield, the Paragon, the Everest, and the K2. So fun fact, JBL names its flagship loudspeakers after mountains, symbolizing the pinnacle of what the brand can achieve in sound engineering. For example, we have the Everest, which takes after the world's highest peak, and K2 for the second highest peak. Today, we add the fifth project, Project Summit, which features the Summit Everest and Summit K2, the latest additions to JBL's flagship loudspeaker legacy. The Summit Everest is a true six-figure flagship and is available exclusively only at Singapore at Sound Gallery by IMS. A loudspeaker like this does not come along often, 5 times in 80 years in fact, and today all of you here are among the first in Asia to hear it live. So get excited, because joining us to lead today's reveal is David Tobisi, Vice President and General Manager of Harman Luxury Audio, and he has over 45 years in the industry. But before David takes the stage, we'd like to take a moment to look back at the journey that brought us here, because 80 years of JBL is more than a milestone. It is a legacy that deserves more than just a brief introduction. Please enjoy.
In 1946, James B. Lansing gave a new company his initials, JBL. What began with a single driver, the D130, became 8 decades of audio innovation and a long climb toward the summit. Its sound powered the guitar amplifiers of early rock and roll. And in 1957 came the Paragon, the first stereo loudspeaker for the home. It cost as much as a new car, and for 26 years, every single one was built by hand. Only 1,000 were ever built. Through the 60s and 70s, the sound spread. The 43-tin studio monitor came home as the L100. Over 125,000 pairs sold. JBL sound carried Woodstock in 1969 and the Wall of Sound in 1973, a legacy the Recording Academy recognized with a Technical Grammy Award. Then, in the 1980s, the 250 Ti and its titanium dome, a masterpiece of design. Through it all, JBL kept one word for its greatest loudspeakers: a project. In 80 years, only 5 have earned it. 4 are already history. Hartsfield, Paragon, Everest, named for the world's highest peak, K2, the second, After 80 years of shaping how the world hears music, the fifth, the JBL Summit Everest.
So I have to come up after that, right? Great job. So as they said, my name is Dave Tavisi. I am responsible for the luxury brands at Harman. Besides JBL and the Summit, we're also responsible for Mark Levinson, Arcam, Revel, and JBL Synthesis. My team is very passionate. We're a small team of less than 40 people. We actually, project team, engineers, all work together to create the flagships for all of Harman's brands. So we're here to celebrate 80 years. We're here to celebrate a new show here in Asia Pacific. Well done to the StereoNET folks. But before we can celebrate the present, I'd like to share with you a little bit about the past. And you did an awesome job already talking about some of them, but let me walk you through a couple things before JBL. As you know, James B. Lansing is who our brand is named after. But prior to 1946, James B. Lansing left his home in the Midwest with a dream, a passion to actually be a part of making sound for movies. Prior to him and a couple others, all the movies were silent. So he got on a plane, brought his family to just outside of Hollywood with one mission, to bring sound to movies. And at that time, he partnered with MGM, who owned not only the recording and movie studios, but they also owned Lowe's Cinemas. And they outfitted the very first cinemas with a product made by James B. Lansing, known as the Shearer Horn. And the Shearer Horn has been a part of cinema sound from the very beginning. This was the original sound in a movie, and James B. Lansing brought that to life. He actually has an Academy Award for Best Technical Sound Reproduction, which they won back in the 1930s. So there's a long history of the Shearer Horn and other products made by the Lansing family. In 1946, after a long couple of years at war, the company was struggling. And Lansing decided to leave what was known as Lansing Corporation to start his own business without his partners. But his partners refused to allow him to take the Lansing name. Imagine having your name and you can't use it in any of your branding. And that's when he figured out, I will just become James B. Lansing, JBL. So he didn't actually use his name in there. So in 1946, they founded JBL. And you've done an awesome job telling you about the story, so I won't spend much time on that. I would like to spend some time talking about project speakers. As she said, in the 80-year history of JBL, there has been only 5 projects here, so you can count them on one hand. What is a project speaker? A project speaker is when the company pulls together engineering, design, and all the R&D and say, we want to build the best speaker of its kind in it at its time. The very first one that we already learned about was Project Hartsfield. Project Hartsfield came out in the early 1940s before there was stereo sound. It was actually designed to create a competitive product to Paul Klipsch's corner horn. Shortly after that time, though, stereo became more important. And thus, if you're trying to stay up with me, I want to kind of walk you through.
Throughout the history of JBL, there have been a number of project series that were always using the best technologies available at the time. And we knew that with the 80th anniversary coming up, there was a way that we could make, yet again, the best loudspeakers that have ever been created for JBL. So we took a lot of the patented technologies that we've been working on and combined them all. Every aspect of the loudspeaker was intended to be the best, from the mechanical aspects of it, to the transducer designs, to crossover, to create the best loudspeaker that's ever been built under the JBL brand.
If you don't know that gentleman, it's Jim Garrick. He's been a friend there, his name's on there. A friend of mine, and he has just recently got promoted to the vice presidency role for the Sound United team. So he's a very talented individual, and usually he's the face of the brand. So we talked a little about Project Hartsfield. That was, again, a mono speaker. I'm speeding you up. Project Paragon we talked about. It was the very first stereo speaker that JBL ever made for the home. It was actually one of the longest running speaker series we had. As she said, they're all handmade. We only made 1,000 of them, and they do cost as much as a car did back in the early 1940s. We used a very unique design, and if some of you are with the biradial cabinet in the front, the baffle, that was to reflect sound, and that was the first time we could actually, so if you've seen the L42, we used that same design, pulling back to the 1950s to create a similar product. But Project Paragon took us into the stereo world. It was 40 years later that they actually had enough innovation that JBL went and created its third project, and that was Project Everest. Project Everest had multiple variations of the product. It was actually designed with a very important reviewer from the Japan market. And he came over and actually did all the voicing. So it was actually designed for playback primarily in the Japanese market because that's where high-end audio had its roots. That product had various iterations. It started out with just as a three-way, but over time we added an ultra-high frequency to actually lift the treble and allow the bass to come up. So that product was actually our oldest running. It's over 40 years that product was in production. The next year, it was 4 years later, we came out with Project K2. Now, why did it only take 4 years and the last one took 40? Because innovation was changing so rapidly at that time. And even though K2 may sit in the shadows of Everest in the Himalayas, it actually outperformed Everest when we first launched it. So it actually was the best sounding loudspeaker of its time. So it brings us to our final reason why we're all here together. And this guy here has a great story. You gotta listen to him talk.
First joined the company back in 2019. I was tasked to go around the world to talk to customers and dealers about JBL products. My most memorable experience was in Japan, meeting with one of our dealers and one of their salespeople, who they called Mr. JBL. And when I asked him about what can we do to make our products better, he looked at me and said, I don't know if you can make them better. What he didn't know was there was a team already assembled back here in the Center of Acoustics Excellence here in Northridge, working on the next generation of loudspeakers. We are tasked to push the JBL brand to the next generation of products, and we do.
So Project Summit. It is 5 loudspeakers that all represent the best of JBL. Each of them have their own designs. There's a lot of shared technology, but we don't share any of the parts. Everything is unique for each of those loudspeakers. From the Summit AMA, which is our pedestal mount 8-inch, to the Summit Komori, which is the best 10-inch 3-way we've ever done, to Makalu, which is the best 12-inch, to what you're going to see in here today is our best 15-inch and dual 15-inch, which is the K2, Project Summit K2 and Summit Everest. So all of the Summit speakers have some shared technology, but they all are hitting the apex of what is possible at JBL. Again, we were tasked as a project company. The speaker, we could do anything we wanted. There was no budget. We didn't have to hit a price point. We didn't have to use any innovation that was already existing. So it took us 7 years to develop this line of loudspeakers. And we feel it's the best it's ever been done for JBL. So I'm gonna let Jim talk a little bit more about Project Summit.
We're blessed at JBL in having some of the best acoustic engineering talent here on campus in Northridge, as well as some of the finest acoustic engineering resources that are available anywhere through the Harman organization. And that allowed us to really challenge the acoustic engineering team to reach higher, create something that had never been done before. As a result, we've got a number of patents that have come out of the JBL Project Summit series, and that allowed us to achieve something that had never been done before and get the best possible performance from these loudspeakers.
So, a couple things about the, you heard Jim say, the best and patents. We have 11 new patents just with Project Summit. That's a lot of innovation occurring in that 7 years that we were able to patent. You also heard earlier about the names of the speakers. These aren't model numbers, these are mountain numbers. And they all have its own space in the Himalayan range. And I'd like one of our product folks to talk a little bit more about why they're named what they are. Oh, we skip it that way. Oh, we skipped that one. So we're going to move on to shared technologies. I said in order for us to have a complete series, I wanted to make sure if the team here was selling an Everest or if they were selling an AMA, they had the same story to talk about. So we use a lot of the same technology. We're using all D2 compression drivers. We're using all HDI horns with Sonoglass. We're using hydrocarbon, it's called HC4, hydrocarbon cellulose cone, composite cone. Our crossover network, we use multi-cap crossovers. So there's one of the examples of that in the pedestal behind us. All of them use a carbon fiber front baffle. All of them have a very soft curved and very heavily braced cabinet. We partnered with ISO Acoustics, who's also here as well, to create custom feet for each of them. All of them have their own unique custom feet. And of course the finishes, they're so beautiful. We've started with the ebony, which is what we have here, and the black cloths. So that's what's shared amongst all of the technologies. Talking specifically about the flagships, what's different? The first thing you're going to notice different, and there's one in behind it, is we're using 6 compression drivers firing into a single manifold. It's an expansion manifold. It's never been done by any company. This actually has 3 patents by itself. So when you go back and take a look at it, imagine 3 big, high frequency drivers firing into a single manifold, which comes out as a single speaker or single tone in this. So it's 6 high frequency drivers driving just the high end. We used patented mid-bass drivers too, which uses a progressive carbon fiber there as well. And then our big 15-inch dual spider ring. It's a ring magnet bass driver. Never been done by JBL either. So there's 3 unique technologies on our 2 flagships. A little bit closer look at the high range of the compression. So there's, as I said, there's 6 of these because there's 2 mounted together. So these are 6 compression drivers firing into that single manifold. It was so unique to get to design that manifold that we couldn't have no one could actually rebuild that for us. So what we had to do is 3D print that in aluminum. So all of them were 3D printed in aluminum as they come off. The difference between the K2 and the Everest is just the size of the compression drivers, but it uses the same technology. So that's basically what I had for you. We can take some questions, or we can listen to music. It's up to you. I think we should listen to music, but I'll take whatever questions you want. You got a nice smile. What do you think? Listen to music?
Either way works.
I'm up to you. We have the F1 race team here. They're going to actually tear apart the video and actually let you see what we've been waiting to show you, which is, this is Summit Everest. Summit Everest, as we said, is the finest loudspeaker ever made by JBL. 7 years in the making, 11 patents itself on there. What you're going to find when we start playing some of the cuts, which I want you to listen for, because this is a fairly large room, is the detail of the high frequency and how low these go. And I will tell you, they go low. And when you hear it going low, it's not an earthquake, folks. It's actually the speaker performing, and there's no bass drivers under your seats. So don't be expecting that. So let's play our first cut. You may have heard this in the past, but never on a pair of Everest.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its seed while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams I walked alone.
So we were competing with the neighbors, so I'm gonna get a little bit louder for you if you're okay with that. So I don't have to compete with them. This next one though is gonna show off a female voice. I'm gonna play the whole song for you because it's only 2 minutes. It's by Holly Cole, and it's a song called Take Me Home. And here you wanna listen to the voice and the piano. A little more noise.
Take me home, you silly boy. Put your arms around me. Take me home, you silly boy. The world's not around without you. I'm so sorry I broke your heart. Please don't leave my side. Take me home, you silly boy. I'm still in love. I'm still in love. I'm still in love with you.
On this next cut, everyone always says, well, it's a horn, right? And how can you make a horn sound as well as it has? Well, I'm gonna play something, this time it should sound like a horn, because this is a horn being played. So I'm gonna this is a cut by Chris Body. background is in live sound, studios, discotheques. So this last cut I want to play for you, I challenge you to go to any other booth, any other sound room you've ever, and ask them to play this song. Not a single loudspeaker will be able to play at this level and the only way we can do that is with our D2 compression drivers. So give this one a little bit more volume. You all can get your glow sticks out and dance along with us. Get a little bit more. That loudspeaker can play anything, any kind of music. That's what makes these products so special. Whatever the genre, they will be able to play from EDM to jazz to vocals to classical. That's what JBL has done. We've created the best speakers ever. So that's all I've got for you. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have, either about the product itself or JBL, or what I had for dinner last night. So. Any questions? Any thoughts? Any surprises? Any words? And I don't need to put you on the spot, so if you have